What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports Week 10 preview show. We'll do a quick little recap of anything that kind of happened last week in Week 9, then kind of go into the Week 10 pricing. Check it out on FanDuel, check it out on DraftKings, and see if anything stands out. But as usual, I'm joined by my two boys, Title and Mangone. Go to you first, Mangone. How was Week 9? Any takeaways for you?
Yeah. Takeaways. I'm trying to think if there's anything crazy. Football's not great right now, I will say. Maybe I'm not trying to use like too small of a sample, but I don't know. The games are they're not that great right now. Some of these top teams in the league, man, I don't really buy it. So I'm if you're betting like futures, especially the Bills, I was pretty shocked to see it. The Bills are the second best team to win like the title this year. And Hoop, if you do the schedule look that you like to do, they have beat nobody. I mean, no one.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah, they
disgusting.
literally haven't. I did look at it. Was it for what per? Oh, I think maybe like the Survivor, just to see like who they had like coming up. And I think part of the reason, at least for the regular season, like they get what, 2 games against the Jets, they get two games against the Dolphins. I mean, they should get four. But I'm not feeling good. I mean, it is pretty damn wide open this year. It's going
Yeah.
to be it's going to be very exciting. In terms of the DFS last week, it was bad football. I mean, it was just those 1 o'clock games were bad. And everyone, oh, PMR is going to win. PMR is going to win. Well, the 4 o'clock games hit, and it was more bad football. I mean, it is just not exciting. I don't know what the difference is between this year and last year, but just watching the games, it's tough. I mean, it is just not exciting. Even last night, it was a close game, high scoring, and the thing that people are talking about is the taunting call, which was absolutely egregious. Nothing to do with the football game. So I don't know. I'm with you. I thought it was bad football, pretty boring overall. For DFS, I mean, last week all it really came down to in a lot of these contests. Did you play Lamar Jackson at quarterback? Did you play Nick Chubb? If you had both those guys, especially in cash games, you won. In tournaments, you probably did too. I mean, there were endless busts and disappointing performances, disappointing teams. Title, toss it over to you. Anything to add here?
Well, I mean, if I'm making money, I don't think anything's boring. I still love watching football. I've baseball, watched that enough during the summer and stuff. So, yeah, while I agree, it's definitely an interesting year. I had Nick Chubb and Lamar and cash in both sites last week, so I enjoyed the Sunday. That's pretty much like you said, all you needed though, Lamar and Chubb. Very, very interesting week. So Chubb, Lamar, thank you very much. Cooper Cup wasn't on the slate, so you get a little Renfro, the Dollar Tree version. He gets there. Cooper Cup got there on Sunday night, of course, when it wasn't looking good. I haven't even looked at this slate, actually. Is Cooper Cup on this slate? It does not
I
look
don't
like the
think the
Rams
Rams.
are.
Yeah, the Rams aren't on the
Nope.
slate. If they do, they I think they have a bye this week. No,
Do
they
they?
don't. Who do they? Oh, they're on Monday night. They play the Rams Monday night on
Well,
the road.
unfortunately, he's not on the slate. It doesn't look like Hunter Renfro is on the slate, so I'm not sure what I'm
No.
exactly going to
What are
do.
we gonna do at wide receiver? It's but yeah, there are again a lot of big name teams either not on the main slate or on by. I mean, you got the Rams Monday night, we got the Chiefs and Raiders Sunday night. Those are two teams that we play a lot of guys from fantasy wise. Got the Ravens on Thursday night, and then we have 4 teams on by. So it's 11 game main slate, but some of the major players, some of the major guys we typically go to for DFS purposes are not on the slate. One thing I do want to talk about before we get into any of the pricing whatnot, we got pretty big news today. Nick Chubb, a guy we are just speaking of, who was the key to making money last week, tested positive for the old COVID. Him and what's the other guy's name? That dude's
Saw it.
name.
I forget who it.
Yeah, not Felton. So Chubb and Felton both test positive. So might have a situation in Cleveland where Dearness Johnson is back in our lives. He was there for, I believe it was a showdown slate. He absolutely crushed. Might end up being the only running back. I'm sure they'll call someone up from the practice squad if Chubb and Felton are unable to play. Title, initial thoughts on that situation. And we're far out. I mean, this is only Tuesday. This game is on Sunday, so a lot could change, but potentially Dearness Johnson season.
Yeah, I don't know how it all works. I'm not getting into politics or anything, but he is confirmed did get COVID, but he does have a vaccine. I don't think he's gonna play. I mean, that's less than a week and he actually has it, but I don't know. Maybe he does. If he does play, Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's a little risky. Like, that's the thing with the COVID and like injury stuff. Like, I don't really know if he plays. Like, he'd be a great play. Kareem Hunt will still probably be out. His price is still fine. So, like, you got to listen to coach talk, I guess, and what they say about that. As far as if he's out, Johnson would be a stone lock, I'd imagine.
We've already seen athletes excel with COVID. I mean, John Rahm was winning the Memorial Golf Tournament with COVID and had to withdraw. So it is possible. But yeah, it's a situation to monitor all throughout the week. Mangone, thoughts on the Chubb situation?
Yeah, I mean, if Chubb is not there, it's just, I mean, it's going to be Johnson's season. I assume he's really cheap. It is against the Patriots, and it's a low total, but I mean, we'll see. There's not a bunch of amazing totals. There's some decent ones. There's one that I'm still shocked by. That Falcons-Cowboys game went from 52.5 to 54.5. So that thing has really moved up. And yeah, I think Johnson will be someone that will all be loading up into our lineup. Should be one of those kind of free squares, I think, on the slate. And then, hey, Hoop, Jarvis Landry, let's not sleep on him. He could definitely get some running opportunity in this game. They like to, when they're a bit shorthanded, get Jarvis Landry a bit more involved. So I would not be shocked if he gets a little bit more work.
That was one of the snowflakes in my lineup last week. A nice little Jarvis Landry. I think he got me a nice little 4 or something, but yeah he would get a bump too.
Yeah, I was on him as well, but like I said, it
didn't matter.
Winning lineups had a ton of snowflakes. Even in GPPs, like you could have snowflakes last week. I mean, just so many busts. Dearness Johnson, though, real quick, 4-7 on DK, 5-4 on FanDuel. If we indeed get that news. Not the greatest matchup against the Patriots, but I mean, full workload most likely. And yeah, I'd be on Landry too if Chubb were to be out. Assuming his price is cheap. We'll cover all that as we go through the slate first look. Another slate, though, here where we have a lot of really big favorites. You got the Buccaneers favored by 9.5 against the football team. The Steelers, 9-point favorites against the Lions. Cowboys, 9-point favorites against the Falcons. Bills, 13-point favorites against the Jets. Colts, 10.5-point favorites against the Jaguars. Then the Cardinals, 10-point favorites against the Panthers. So a lot of really big favorites. I mean, we're looking at 6 that are basically close to that double-digit marker. Mangone, I'll throw it to you. Does that change like your approach at all when you start going through and building lineups, looking at some of these big time favorites on this slate?
I think it can help because I think you can understand that you want to grab some of that touchdown equity, right? I think that could be super important. Jonathan Taylor is really priced up, but he's a guy that's in a really good spot. Obviously, when you see running backs, 10-point favorites, like Zeke was one last week. Typically, those spots are just smash spots for running backs. I think it's going to be one of those same situations for a guy like Jonathan Taylor. I still don't know what to do with this Cowboys-Falcons game. That's the really weird one. It's in a dome, 54.5 total. You also have that Chargers-Vikings game. 51.5. That's the over under there for the total. And then you got a really close game because it's going to be the Chargers are -2.5. But I will say the Chargers, and this is one of the issues with this team, is like good luck guessing who's going to score the touchdowns. It does feel like this touchdown equity is very spread out. Like if you know the Colts are going to score touchdowns, who's going to score? It's pretty simple. It's typically a random tight end or Jonathan Taylor, maybe Michael Pittman. I mean, it's just very simple. So that's the problem with the Chargers. But I think that game is a really interesting one between the Chargers and Vikings. You also have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, 2 other guys that are, easily to guess who's going to be the run back. One reason I think you could like a Chargers-Vikings stack this week, Hoop, is, hey, I know who the run backs are going to be very easily. It's either Jefferson or it's either Thielen. Maybe it's Dalvin Cook if they're leading. I just think that's one thing I really like about targeting some of these games. And I think that's one I'll target. And I love the spot in that Bucs game. Don't sleep on the Bucs here. They got a really big team total. Brady, Fournette, Evans, Godwin. I mean, the third receiver is Tyler Johnson or Scotty Miller, and they don't have Gronk still. So this is definitely a spot where I'm going to like looking at the Bucs as one of my favorite stacks, I think, in tournaments on this slate.
Mangone, I got to interrupt you a little bit. It's not either Jefferson or Thielen. It's always Justin Jefferson. Come on now.
No, that's not true, though.
Always.
Adam Thielen gets more touchdowns. I'm sorry.
Always.
I think Justin Jefferson is better, but the problem is you can't argue with the numbers. The numbers say Adam Thielen scores touchdowns. He gets in the box. He gets in the red zone.
Jefferson does his gritty in there too. Don't worry.
Yeah, but not as
Yeah,
much
I
as
mean, I think it's a situation where obviously they're both existing quite well. I mean, Jefferson clearly the better wide receiver, but Thielen continues to find a way to score touchdowns, and pretty impressive. Chargers situation, I mean, it was very clear early on in the season. Mike Williams is going to be this beast. I think you kind of nailed it, man. Going like they've kind of gone away from that, like a little bit. Mike Williams injured a little
he's
bit.
always hurt, Hoop, right?
He's
He's always
banged
hurt.
up.
I think he's playing through an injury. I think it's clear,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean he can't have a good DFS day, right? I think he can, but you do run risk with playing Mike Williams each week, and that's something to think about.
Yeah, and the price, I know on FanDuel I peaked at it, has come down a little bit. So, yeah, there's definitely some interesting spots here, some big favorites, but we have some big totals, some big team totals. So, definitely a lot to look forward to. Before we get into the slate by slate kind of, or the site by site price breakdown, just wanted to remind you guys we have that promo code going RPS Heater 25. You can try Run Pure Sports for 25% off your first monthly payment. Talked about it a little bit yesterday on the NBA show. You know, we had a big announcement yesterday. We brought on Allie McCann, who will be doing some videos for us, some short form videos, some longer videos, sports betting, DFS, free shows, premium shows. So it was a big announcement we made yesterday. She's going to have a pick out, I believe, for one of the MAC games tonight. So keep an eye out for that. But I kind of alluded to it yesterday on the NBA show that we have another really big announcement coming up. And we're going to have a really, really good deal for anyone that is a Run Pure Sports member. So if you're a member at Run Pure Sports, you have a big opportunity to get on. Let me see the best way to put this without giving it away. I'm not doing a very good job of leading into this, but basically you just need to be a member at Run Pure Sports to take advantage of this ridiculous deal that we're going to be offering very, very soon. So sign up. You can use that promo code RPS Heater 25 to try it out. The members never win segment has been a hit lately. I mean, a lot of massive wins across a bunch of sports. And, our producer gave me the list, and it's kind of tough when you're hosting the show and the first one you got to go to is one of your own. And it's Hoop 2410 in MMA. Thanks to my boy Title. I know we got accused of jerking each other off a little bit by Mangone yesterday. So I'll keep it sweet and simple. If you don't know MMA, Title's the man. I build my lineups solely based off Title's playbook, and I've been printing. Had like a $40,000 win in MMA this weekend, 2 live final seats. Big T, college football, $18,000, I believe 2,000 into 18,000. Had a big NHL win for $16,000. Mike, oh my gosh, Hanekik, I have no idea, but $16,000 in NHL to Mike H. So congratulations to him. In NBA, our boy Nick Slick Derulo, $25,000. I mean, this guy prints an NBA. Phenomenal job, Slick Derulo, $25,000. Mike J, 32. $118,000. Congratulations to him. Then NFL, ton of big wins. Matt S, 30,000. And then Mike again, who is apparently a friend of a friend, lives very close to me, took down that $500,000 showdown win with the backup quarterback last week. So congratulations to him. Big NHL win, big NFL win. Things are heating up over here. Great time to get on board with all the sports going. One price, every sport, all content on our website. There's no better deal in the industry. So come on over and join the movement. All right, let's get in.
Not to stroke a little more, but hey, we got to acknowledge yesterday, the Stroke Fest, when I was stroking, Hoop goes and wins another 100,000. G Ryzen won a ticket yesterday. I saw members were crushing all the way up top and bottom. So Showdown was a huge one yesterday as well. It's a heater right now. I mean, there's no better time in DFS, in my opinion. This is my favorite time of year for sure.
Yeah, big win. Had a big win last night in Showdown, and I think our team was very high on Pat Freiermuth, and he got the job done with 2 touchdowns. He looks good, and he'll be kind of a talking point, I think, here on this show today when we get to the tight end position, because he's still cheap, looks very good. Big Ben loves throwing to this guy. But yeah, he was the key to the takedowns last night. And a lot of people had success on the Run Pure Sports team. A lot of it was because of Freiermuth just having this big game. And he wasn't like an unowned guy or anything, but Run Pure was way, way over the field Friar Moose. So yeah, that was the key last night. A lot of big wins, including for myself. Definitely exciting. So thank you, Title. All that stroking yesterday in the NBA show paid off kindly for me. So thank you for that. Let's go ahead and hop into the DraftKings pricing. Kind of start at quarterback and work our way through and see what the talking points are early in the week. Obviously, a lot can change throughout the week. We'll have our content. The playbook will be up Thursday or Friday. We'll have our Thursday cash show, the GPP show, pick and winner show, just a ton of content throughout the week. This is just a first glance and anything that kind of stands out pricing matchup wise. So I'm going to toss it over to Mangone to kind of break down what we're seeing here on DraftKings.
Yeah, man, it's not the greatest here to start out with quarterback, right? I don't know what to do spending up. Do I want to waste my salary, spend it all the way up? I think if we have Johnson as a value, it's going to make it a little bit easier. And then some of the cheap stuff, it's not amazing. So overall, it looks like I am probably going to go more towards the top, I think, on this slate. Now, Josh Allen at 7-9. You got Tom Brady 7-6, which I definitely thought about maybe starting to roster Brady more in the cash games. I haven't done it yet, but I've definitely thought about it and been like, whenever there's a slate, maybe I'll actually pull the trigger. Don't know if this will be the one, but it's something I'm going to think about. Herbert,
he's clearly trying to throw touchdown passes at a high rate. Like I think now that wide MVP race is wide open. I think that's a good call. I think you could see more of that like moving forward from him.
Yeah,
so
I got a 9-1 ticket on him to win. So
you posted that on the Run Pure bet sheet, and I backed it. I joined forces with you, so I got a bunch riding on Tom Brady, and I'm feeling pretty good about it as well.
Yeah, this is I got to thank Simon for it. He was talking up Lamar. Snyder's on Twitter talking up Lamar, and I'm like, Brady's winning this. I'm sorry. So they helped me get there a little bit for sure to place the bet. But I think Brady is definitely going to get the job done. And I like him. Even in cash games, I think it's not the craziest thing. Dak at 6-9 is okay. He did look really bad last week. Yes, he still got to 20 fantasy points. I guess I don't know what to do with him because he is coming off an injury. So I'm not completely sure my plan of attack, but he is at 6-9. He's in one of the highest totals. You have to consider him. Got to consider a guy like a Russell Wilson. Overall, I think quarterback you're going to spend up on. We got Christian McCaffrey back. Who knows how healthy he really is? Sure, he played well in that first game. I don't know what the snaps were. That's something I probably should go look at. I'm assuming he'll get more this time. 8-4. Then you got Kamara at 8-2. Jonathan Taylor at 8-1, who's definitely deserved it and earned it. I wouldn't be shocked if he keeps just running people over all season long like he's Derrick Henry and he just is 9K by the end of the year. Would not surprise me at all. Those are guys you can easily spend up on. I've always talked about this 6K range has been pretty loaded, and it's not bad this week. You got Connor at 6-3, who, if there's no Chase Edmonds, you have to consider him way more. Swift at 6-8, who's not in that bad of a spot, I think, because of the PPR upside he can have on a site like DraftKings. You got Fournette at 6-1. You got Carter, who at 5-6 is still definitely in the conversation for me because of the PPR he's going to be getting. It's very massive on DraftKings. It's not like FanDuel where touchdown equity matters as much, and we know they'll probably be trailing against the Bills. At least you hope so. And then at the receiver position, yeah, I mean, you got Jefferson 7-7, AJ Brown 7-8, Adams 7-9, McLaurin 7-6. All these guys are all fine, but I think I'm just going to try to get into that mid-tier range like I've talked about, the 6K range. I think there's some really good guys you can go to. I mean, Mike Evans is there. Chris Godwin, I believe his price is pretty cheap. Let's see. No, he's 7-1. They finally moved him up, Hoop. It's taken some time. I know Godwin has been in that low 6s for a while. Pittman's at 6-3. I mean, he's not bad. DJ Moore at 6-3 is okay. Cooper's 6-2. Yeah, I guess it's not as loaded as I thought it was. Maybe some of these guys are starting to get a little priced up, and that 5K range is maybe the one that's looking a little bit juicier, right? I mean, Jerry Jeudy 5-3 isn't bad. That's kind of a cheap price tag for him. If Corey Davis is still out, you can make arguments for Jamison Crowder at 4-8. That 6K range isn't as good as it's been, Hoop, but I still think there's guys that we want to roster in that range. We might be able to still pull that off.
Quick question for you. What about any of the Seahawks guys with Russell Wilson back? I mean, DK Metcalf, 6'8". Where is our boy Lockett, 6'5"? I mean, I wish the prices were a little bit better on those guys. You would have thought maybe we could get some decent value, but they're pretty fairly priced, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy they're not because, man, there is nothing worse than the guessing game of Lockett versus Metcalf, Hoop. So I'm kind of happy about that. But they are – guys, you're going to consider. I don't know if Odell's randomly going to get signed and then he's going to be there. Even if he is, I don't think it'll affect it too much early on. I know that's like a big talk people are saying, but I don't think Odell will kill it that much. I'd rather play Adam Thielen at 6'7". Again, the discount on Adam Thielen is nice at 6'7". Even though Jefferson, I think in tournaments, he's going to be the guy you just like go up to.
Better be careful, pumping that Adam Thielen. I can see that look. Title, you're getting him going over there. You're not even allowed to bring up that name.
I mean, can I get Adam Thielen versus Jefferson point per dollar? I mean, PPD, I think I got it beat. Of course, raw points, I want Jefferson.
Sure. I'll give you anything. Justin Jefferson's the man.
Yeah, I mean, I will.
I'll give you a point per dollar any site, any week almost. I mean, that's just my boy. He gets it done.
All right. Well, we'll do a lunch bet, point per dollar. May as well.
All right.
We'll put a little lunch bet on it. For 6'7" for Mr. Adam Thielen. Tight end, man. So like, Hoop, this is easy. We'll make it real quick. Kyle Pitts is 5'8", and then it just drops off. So when it's those kind of weeks, it's simple. You just find a spend down guy. We'll find when the games go on, right? You got, I believe Noah Fant should still be out. If he is, Albert O will be in play. You can make a case for Conklin at 3.4. You can make the case for Dan Arnold at 3.5. We'll find a cheap tight end as the week goes.
We got one. We already talked about him at 3.9. Our boy last night, Freiermuth.
Yeah, that's a great call. Freiermuth against the Lions.
Freiermuth.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good call. He might be the guy. I mean, Big Ben is definitely loving him. Like I said, I heard Bruce Arians called Big Ben early in the draft, said this guy's going to be great. And it takes tight ends some time to learn the position, learn the offense. Maybe that's what it took a little bit of time for him to get going. And Freiermuth at 3.9, I think it's a good call to go back to him, especially against the Lions. So that's a good one.
Dan Arnold, 3.5. I mean, 7 targets, 10 targets, 7 targets. I think he's a cheaper option and could get some more throughout the week too. I mean, you really.
The only way you would spend up at tight end, Hoop, is I think if you got another egregious value that you have to play, then you just you'd start having money to go up there. If you have Johnson as a running back, and then you get I don't know, a 4K receiver that's just a stone lock, then you would start to have some salary that it would make some sense to go up. But I don't think you need to prioritize that.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. Title, anything to add to the DraftKings conversation here?
At court, I mean, a big part of this week is Aaron Rodgers, if he's going to be back or if it's going to be Love for the second week. But I'm not convinced that it's for sure a pay-up week on DraftKings. Even FanDuel, I think Jordan Love is in the equation, at least for myself. Heineke maybe, but I think Love right now, he now gets another full week. He already has a week under his belt. They'd have to put up points against the Seahawks. So I think I could see myself going to Love this week if Rodgers is out.
Yeah, I don't think Rodgers is going to
play.
Or I guess there's a chance he gets suspended too. I think that I've heard people say he should, or I don't know what's going to happen, but
that's what I mean. There's so many unknowns going on. I don't know what's going to happen with Rodgers.
I'll tell you what,
suspended or any of that.
His first game back, I mean, he's got to be a lock for 350 and 5 touchdowns.
Oh,
right?
that's what Rodgers does.
Yeah, he's coming out pissed off, and I'm whatever game it is that he decides, or when he's allowed to play again, I'm going to be on him definitely in tournaments.
This week would be the nuts at home. He has Devontae Adams, the easy pairing. Run it back with DK or Lockett with Russ. That's how you win the GPPs.
And another thing about Seattle, man, Seattle is a team that definitely probably pisses Aaron Rodgers off because, man, they've had some bad blood a little bit. You know, that when we had the replacement refs and they got screwed in that game.
NFC Championship.
Yeah, Rodgers definitely doesn't mind sticking it to Seattle. That's definitely a team he kind of looks at and he's like, yeah, I definitely want to take it to them because of some past games, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, if he gets back, I mean, that would be I'd just make the game overall better. I mean, I think I'd look to the Seattle guys a little bit more as well. So, I guess that's pretty big news to monitor throughout the week. Another guy at quarterback, Justin Herbert gets exposure to that game. He's 7-3 on DK. I mean, he's just solid, safe, I'd say, with upside. Kind of spreading it around a little bit, so you don't really need to play anyone with them. Coming off 35 fantasy point game, that total in the Minnesota Chargers game is 52, right? Somewhere in that range. So
yeah,
just another name to kind of add to the conversation.
You know who else we didn't talk about? Jalen Hurts at 6.5. So that is a nice price, but it is the Broncos on the road. And man, that defense is a good defense. It's one of those D's that, yes, they lost Von Miller, but on the road in Denver, that could be a little bit of a tough spot for Hurts. And Hurts has definitely found a way to bail himself out and get there a ton. But I do think that if he doesn't get like all those rushing touchdowns, the wheels can definitely fall off and it could be a really bad performance. So
he's
it's
just
something
so
to think
bad.
about.
Like he's such a bad quarterback. Like he's just such a bad quarterback. It's tough to watch. But yeah, for fantasy, I mean, 6'5", I mean, it just takes one rushing touchdown and he basically gets you there. So I think you can always make the case for him.
Yeah, you can definitely. I do think that in cash games it could be a little scary, but we'll see. I mean, maybe I'm sure he'll be on the chart. Don't know if I'll be locking and loading on him. There's no Lamar this week, who's been great. Just the rushing equity. It's what we talk about all the time. The rushing equity is just so key. So definitely won't count him out there at 6'5".
Yeah. All right, let's hop over to FanDuel, kind of go through, see if anything stands out price-wise. We'll do the same thing, kind of start at the quarterback position and toss it over to you, Title, get us started.
Lamar's not on the slate. Josh Allen is, so that's the first name that stands out to me. Yes, he was awful last week. He put up a stinker. Thankfully, I was on the Lamar train, but I think I played Lamar, Josh Allen, I think maybe every single week this year. That's just my guy. I like his rushing upside. He by far
dumb price on FanDuel too. Like, why is he not over 9K? Like, these top quarterbacks are just too cheap. Just forces you into kind of paying up. 8-7 for Josh Allen or 7-5 for Wentz. Like, why are you not just going to get up to Josh Allen? There's just not a big enough difference between him and some of these lower quarterbacks. I mean, it's just a bad price.
Yeah, they're too close to the other higher price guys. How I look at it. His ceiling is immense. So Josh Allen, and then again, if Rodgers does miss, I think he's going to play, but I honestly, who knows at this point. Jordan Love is 6'4". Like, if you're not going to pay up, like I'm not going to play a 7-7 Hurts on FanDuel against Denver, 7-5 Wentz. Like 6'4 Jordan Love, though, if there isn't as much value, I could see myself doing that. But I want Josh Allen if I can get him. I think quarterback's pretty simple on FanDuel. Running back, not so much. There's a lot of options, man. They got Najee Harris at 9-4, but I love his matchup against Detroit. Jonathan Taylor's 9-4 against Jacksonville. Zeke's 8K. I think that's a good price against Atlanta. He was banged up a little bit, but he played late into the game, so I'm not too worried about it. Eckler at 8-6. There's a lot of really good spend up options, so that's one of the reasons if Love does play, I think he is in consideration. Dropping down a little bit, Swift at 7-3, I think makes some sense. James Conner at 7K, like Mangone was saying, if Chase Edmonds is out, he'd be a very strong play. Someone I like more on DraftKings than FanDuel, but I'll still have tournament interest is Cordero Patterson. He's 7-8, but man, he is so good, so effective when he gets the ball. If you click on his game log, he's as safe as ever. So I think he's interesting. I do prefer him on DraftKings, though. If you're saving a little money, Michael Carter, like Mangone said, 6.1K, I think is a good price. Damian Harris, 6'3", maybe, but running back seems like a position that I want to be in the mid-range or higher range for sure on FanDuel. Getting into wide receiver, Devontae Adams, if Rodgers does play, I love going back to Devontae at 8-7. It's one of the highest over-unders, close game. I think that would make a lot of sense. Diggs at 7-9, but like, man, he's been getting there, but it's definitely not the same Diggs as it was last year. Sanders is now in the equation. Beasley's getting them all. The offense just hasn't looked, I guess, the same. 7-9. I like playing him at 7-5. I would rather go Justin Jefferson at 7-5, AJ Brown at 7-6. Even Scary Terry, if he's back this week, 7-1 against Tampa, pass funnel. Mike Evans, 7-4. So, like, I probably am not going to get to Diggs this week. If you're scrolling down a little bit to the lower range, Claypool, 6'5". He's a little banged up, though. Jarvis, like we're talking about, if Chubb's out, 6.1K is a good price for him. Cole Beasley, 6.1K. I'd rather the 6-1 probably. I don't know. Do you guys see anything at running back or wide receiver in the cheap range that you're really considering, Mangone?
Sorry, I just saw on Twitter. Aaron Rodgers said small possibility that he might not play on Sunday. I saw it on Twitter, so I was reading it. But
I think that 7K range just seems like the spot you're gonna end. Like the lower sevens just seems like there's so many options there. It just seems like the spot where you're probably playing like definitely 2, maybe 3 of those guys.
Yeah, running back and wide receiver at first glance. So, like, if we do get Dearness Johnson, like that would be huge for the value. But like,
once you have Johnson on FanDuel, right? Like, if you do get that value play, He
it
is
opens
just
up.
5'4". It opens everything
Yeah.
up. It's just easy to get so much on the, and especially when you already like punt defense for the most part. And like we even looked at defense, like what if there's just like this stone lock defense at like 3.8 or something that's amazing? Then yeah, I mean you're just gonna have all the money to spend. So definitely have to be looking to spend up here this week. And you don't want to take like a lot of dusty plays. You know what I mean? When you have Johnson, you just kind of take that free play and just move on.
Yeah, definitely would take John. Yeah, I mean, so wide receiver, running back, and a quarterback, I want Allen. So those three are pay ups from what I want. We're going to have to find some mix in the value. But then I'm going to go to tight end. And yeah, we don't have Kelsey on the slate. We don't have Waller on the slate. I'm going to be looking to save money at tight end. I'm good with Pitts at 6.9K, but I prefer prioritizing wide receiver and running back. This is just first glance. Obviously, it could change, but I prefer going like a Freiermuth at 5.1K. That 1,800 goes a lot more to wide receiver running back than it does tight end. So I think Freiermuth's really cheap, makes sense. Jared Cook in a high total. Dan Arnold's 5'1", Cook's 5'2", Goddard at 5'9". Like I can definitely see myself living in that range. Pitts is the most expensive. I think he's fine, but again, wide receiver, running back, I'm prioritizing more. And then defense, yeah, I mean, Bills are 5K. Like I like the spot against the Jets, but I just don't see myself paying 5K for defense this week unless value opens up.
Yeah, and it's really hard to know at this point. I mean, do we have D'Ernest Johnson as a value play? Do we not? I mean, that's kind of dictates everything. On FanDuel, you're probably, most likely going to be paying up at quarterback. I don't see any reason not to. So it really comes down to what we're able to do at running back and wide receiver, because I think you're definitely going cheap at tight end. You're definitely spending up at quarterback, playing whatever you can at defense, whatever you can get away with, and then, seeing what you have at some of these other positions, because without D'Ernest Johnson, I don't see a ton of like standout value at running back or wide receiver. So you're probably going to be forced to at least be in the mid tier, potentially spend up a little bit.
The one guy under 6K, like I'm looking, like we don't have Johnson. It's so bad. My favorite would probably be Devontae Williams. Javonte Williams at 5.8K. Like, but he's still splitting with Melvin Gordon. Like, it's not someone I would love playing in cash games on FanDuel, especially they split goal line reps. So like, I want to be up in that range, but that's my favorite at under 6K. And he is taking over. He's a good running back, but still, like on FanDuel, you want to play these guys that are going to get the goal line carries and the touchdown equity.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing was Chase Claypool left the game, I believe, last night.
He did, yeah.
So he's officially questionable with a toe injury. So if he were to miss, could get another piece of value. Deontay Johnson, James Washington.
Freiermuth, yeah.
Freiermuth is such a lock, it feels like at this point. Like him and it's just so he's 5'1" on FanDuel.
Yeah.
Silly price tag. I mean, it's bad. I mean, last night he was Ben's favorite target, and Big Ben sucks. Don't get me wrong.
Almost.
Yeah, for 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
So potentially you could get James Washington. I mean, he would probably get a boost. I mean, he's going to be super, super cheap. Trying to think who else was out there with them. I'm drawing a blank.
They had Ray McLeod, but I wouldn't go. I think that's
Najee
Harris. He's expensive, but I still think he's against the Lions. Like, I think he's an elite play on both sides too.
Yep, and someone that just gets absolutely all the work for sure. Mangone, any additional thoughts here on the FanDuel side of things?
Yeah, I mean, you talked about some other like value wide receivers. Like, what about Robbie Anderson, 5'2"?
Oh gosh, the
price tag is amazing. The price tag is hilarious. He's 5'2" on FanDuel and 4'4" on DK.
I don't think I've ever seen a team like just like absolutely like the decline from week 3 on is just absolutely like incredible from all their players. I mean, look at DJ Moore, Robbie, Darnold back to look. Darnold was like an MVP candidate like after 3 weeks. He had didn't he have a bunch of rushing touchdowns?
That shows how good McCaffrey is, though. And now he's back, so I expect the offense to get rolling a little bit. But I think but
listen, so this is a fun conversation. McCaffrey is playing against Belichick, so you would assume Bill Belichick is taking away McCaffrey, right? So if he takes away McCaffrey, is there any chance the pass game gets going? I'm not saying I think it will, but I'm just asking the question because
play
that's
DJ
exactly
Moore.
what he's going to do. He's going to take away McCaffrey.
Then play DJ.
That was
Moore.
last
Don't
week. That was
play
last
Robbie
week, right?
Anderson.
You're right. Sorry, that was last week.
Yeah,
Never mind.
yeah.
They're playing the Cardinals, which the Cardinals, though, that's a great one too, right? And even though
Belichick just took everyone away.
Yeah.
It wasn't
They're
just
good. Their defense is good. They run the ball and
Yeah.
they're like that's not a team I like targeting in DFS.
Oh
that's
man,
for sure.
I mean Robbie against the Cardinals. Oh man, it's funny.
What a sad. I mean, just look at the game log. I mean, it is like the saddest of sad scenes. Like, just, I mean, 1 catch for 2 yards, zero catches the previous week. And then he had that stretch where he's getting so many targets and somehow only got like 10. Oh, man, rough season for Robbie. But you had to bring him up.
It is rough in the cheap receiver range this week. It's definitely not.
Yeah.
So that's definitely worth mentioning, looking at all these guys. Like, it's painful at the cheap receivers this week.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson in chat said if Darnold plays too, like they're going with the MRI in his shoulder, and who knows if it's like they just want PJ Walker to like. It's a mess right now in Carolina. I doubt it gets better this week.
Yeah. I haven't mentioned it, but if you are watching this video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Kind of helps us to continue to put these videos out for free. As I said in the opening, RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off your first payment here at Rumpier Sports. Includes all sports all year round, no increases, just one price, everything under the same umbrella. And now's a good time to join for a couple of reasons. One, got all these sports going right now, the NFL, NBA, MMA, tennis, soccer, NASCAR, college football, all these sports, covered under the one price. And talked about it in the opening, but we have a big announcement coming either this week or next week, and you're going to want to be a member at Rumpier Sports to take advantage of that. So now is also a good time to join for that reason. RPS Heater 25. All right, let's get to some final thoughts. Mangone, any final thoughts here? Any news that we're kind of going to be waiting on, looking at throughout the week that's going to be very important leading into Sunday?
I guess the Rodgers stuff, because that Packers Seattle game is a good one. And we get a nice little set of 4:00 games. You got the Chargers and Vikings. You get Carolina and Arizona, Philadelphia and Denver, and then Seattle and Green Bay. So the 2 best games are probably Minnesota and the Chargers. Seattle and Green Bay are probably like 2 that you could look at as if you're, maybe you're on one game, you switch over to the other, or if things are going really badly, just pivot over to Robbie and just pray he has his final, massive blow up game, but it probably won't happen.
Yeah, man. Oh, so tough with Robbie. And someone put in the chat unthrobby. Yeah, it's like literally the opposite of something throbbing. It's been a massive disappointment. Title, any final thoughts here?
Oh, that's Big Bill from Kentucky, Big T's friend that put that in the
chat. Boy Billy.
Yep. Bill. Mangone hit like there's 405 to 425 games. It's a good late slate. And there's 2 of them that have big totals. You want some of the Packers game for sure. You want some of the Chargers Vikings game for sure. So probably won't be onslaughting the 1 p.m. games like I did last week. The Rodgers news is big. Chubb news is big. Claypool news a little bit. Don't play Robbie Anderson for whatever you do. You don't want to do that. And then always Jefferson over Thielen.
Yeah, man, Jefferson, he looks damn good. That is for sure. But in Mangone's defense, Adam Thielen continues to find the box. So I mean, it was a win-win.
Just play both, right? So this is what you do. You play 150 Lamar Jackson teams like last week. You put 75 Thielen, 75 Jefferson. You're set. You just do it again this week. Play Herbert, run him naked, or maybe not naked. I don't know. It's trying to figure out who you pair him with is the problem. But just always make sure to be getting a lot of exposure to those 2 because you don't have to play a guessing game. It's not like one of these teams like the Cardinals. Good luck guessing who's scoring the touchdowns every week. It is James Conner, though. And of course, now we have James Conner with no Chase Edmonds. So he's 7K. I know we didn't talk about him too much, but we're going to actually have to consider him a lot this week.
Yep. A lot of news obviously still to come. We have to monitor that Brown situation for sure and see what happens with Chubb. But it seems like at this point, he's most likely going to be out. All right, we'll have all the rest of our NFL content starting to drop here tomorrow. Tonight, we have our NBA show. We have a PGA show as well. Only, 3-game NBA slate, but, we'll have all our content for it on the website and our free show and Up to Lock show. So make sure you tune in to all those. But for Title, for Mangone, we're out of here. We'll be back next week.